I will say that. So the more you know. I wonder what we're going to see as far as the rosters coming out from KongDoo here. If they want to bring anything a little different. The King of the Hill meta, especially in North America, has been relatively stable in as far as what heroes you do end up seeing for the most part. So it's been like Tracer, Genji, Winston, Zarya, Lucio, Zen has been across the board the safest kind of composition to run. Right now on KongDoo, it looks like they are running that exact composition. Maybe it'll be the North American team of CBC that ends up surprising us here.
And I think it's running the exact same composition. We can get a mirror matchup in this. And I mean, the main reason why is because when you have this engagement comps and stuff like that, it makes so much sense to have, you know, very mobile characters. And that Winston goes in super deep to get some damage in.
Yeah, it's always the Winston is always the one who's going to have to go in deep, but does he have the follow-up from his team? Bamboo does make some of that come to fruition as he takes down Burns. Bamboo still looking in the back line, chasing down Zar right now. Has to be a little bit careful. He's at 90, does rewind out. Is he going to get back in there on that Zarya? He is still going for damage. Bamboo with some nice kills early. Bible in here, or Bibble, I don't know. Bible able to clean it up with the Winston as he is able to capitalize on all the damage that Tracer did. She gave her life, but not for nothing, as there is now a gorilla fight on the point. Both of them in there. The Discord coming in though, so this might be CBC bringing it back as Burns doing work solo on his Zenyatta.
Yeah, hopefully the offense right now on the side of CBC can capitalize on the fact right now that they, you know, periodically have the point and push out and force the Korean team basically to engage on them in an area that's not very close, right? And stuff like that. So, I mean, Dongjin going down is so huge right now. He had Dragon Blade, and that's effectively giving time for Chicken to catch up, which was a huge problem originally. Man, Sivar, oh my god, taking out so many people in the backline. This is just stalling them out even more, but like you said before, you know, they're not worried right now. KongDoo is basically backing out saying, well, we're going to wait for our numbers, we're going to wait for our execute. But the fact is, the fact that they lost that fight and the point is still ticking gives the room for CBC to, you know, get their ultimates and get ready for this counter.
Well, they lost both fights, so they're definitely not going to have the ult advantage. Here comes Chicken on his Dragon Blade. He's going after it. The Tracer. Does he get anything? There goes... no, actually, this is... yeah, this is Chicken. They're both trying to bust out Dragon Blade right now. Sorry, I got a little confused there. Dragon Blade's all over the place as Chicken continues to try to clean up. They do grab a ton in that Graviton, getting a ton of damage there as well as this fight continues to go insane on the point. Both of the Winstons are Primal Rage. It is kind of the old game Primal Rage, actually, as they're knocking each other about. Winston still remain on the point, but that is a full cleanup now for CBC in great control at this point. They're going to be about 60%. Schooled has his pulse bomb up. There's no healing on the point, though, and he gets taken out by an errant Lucio bomb. So... interesting there is they're going to have the advantage coming in. Hyun, it is going to be Bonkers on the point, a giant Graviton, but they should be able to transcend out of this unless there's that Pulse Bomb combo. E-Dubs does go down to that. Chicken takes down Ditzy. The sound barrier comes off for Kong, and it looks like they should be the ones holding this point, though Chicken has something to say about that. He does take down 2 on his way out, but they are going to flip this point back over. Now you can always tell the confidence of a team by how far they're holding forward, and for now they look very confident as they are right outside the front door.
Yeah, and obviously this is not bad news for the side of CBC. Sure, you lost that fight, but Chicken now has ult, and so does Schooled. And there's a small period of time right before Dongjang is able to get ultimate, and they can capitalize on that. But man, that Winston is just going up, contesting that high ground, forcing them to play back. They need to engage very quickly.
Yeah, Chicken being super aggressive here. He's the first one into the fight. He does not bust out that Dragon Blade just yet. He's still looking for a better target. Transcend does come off, keeps everyone alive as the kill feed turns red. Everyone going down, and they're going to hold very far forward again. They've completely flipped this fight. They're going to have a couple ults you have to work with. The biggest one I want to look for here as Zarya, as she continues to get poked. And Zarya on this map is brutal because you're giving free charge, free poke, free ultimate advantage all the time trying to come through the main door. There's not a better door to come through. Graviton comes in.
Yeah,
they get the pulse!
Oh man, and that's gotta hurt, but you know what? That's fine for the team on the side of CBC right now. They honestly need to die immediately, or, you know, yeah, great job. Chicken jumps off right now. He doesn't want to get staggered. He wants to rejoin the team as soon as possible. And, you know, this is really good right now. They still have 30% to work with. There's still a lot of time left on the clock, and Chicken still has ult, School has ult, and the Monster has an ult, and so does E-Dubs. There's so many tools for them to execute, and right now they only need to hold the point for around 15 seconds. So this is their opportunity. There's no gravity, there's no way to really counter. Check their corners, and it's the only way they can really engage. Yeah, they decided to just go through the front door and go around, but they do lose 2 on the early engage. They bait some people over as Demonsta is trying to get some people knocked off the edge, though he does not get that accomplished. Bamboo continues to clean up on the point as Monster comes in, but it is late. Discorded and denied every single target in their last push. Maybe incoming for CBC, and it's probably not going to be the best of one. Yeah, they need to get on the points now. There's just not enough time left, and for some reason, Chicken in the school it's still hanging on to the ultimates. And I do understand why they do it. And that sound barrier, countered with another one. Hopefully they can capitalize with it. I mean, great graviton surge, catching them all in the middle, but that's the end of the road right there. Chicken dies without doing anything with this.
The problem was they had to just rush onto the point, so as Zara was trying to get to the point to deny it and to keep it going, the rest of the team was lagging behind them. They were caught up in the opposing graviton there too, and so after it started out pretty rough, the engagements were just so much smarter from Kong.
Yeah, honestly, something that was really smart that that maybe it doesn't play as big of a role and people don't notice it, but the fact that the Winston was able to, B-Ball was able to, stay on top of that corner, make it, honestly, make sure that they weren't able to see it, because the big hardest thing about Winston right now, especially when leaping, is you have to leap from a relatively safe area, right? And so you have to figure out a place to do it where you don't get spotted out, where it's not immediately obvious, but the fact that he's able to kind of stay on top of that ledge and no one checks their corners, no one bothers to kind of like look above and check to make sure he's there, so by the time they pass through, he's immediately on top of them, which does a lot of damage in that aspect.
You're just a little newer to the game. Trust me, no one checks their corners ever, no matter what, ever, regardless. That's always just been a problem in this game, but Bamboo on the rollout here on the Tracer, got a ton of work done last time. He is rocking Pink Tracer. He goes and tries to get a little damage done early, but the Winston is going to engage, but in the back line, Burns goes down early, Dubs goes down early. That is both supports for CBC, and Bibble's going to get the credit in the kill feed, but a lot of that was softening up from Bamboo. Bamboo and Bibble is fun to say, and they completely teamed up to dominate that team.
Yeah, honestly, this isn't looking so good, but inside of CBC, right now I would say, hey, I want to look into a change. I want to change up the way that we're doing this right now, because they're just getting decimated in terms of engage. Maybe they just need to some large, a lot of team fight ultimates. Maybe they need a Reinhardt ultimate to basically put down and make a lot of targets easier, because right now their engagements are getting stopped in their tracks.
Yeah, it's once they get in and they start getting cleaned up, then you have to deal with Evermore on this Zarya, who's been absolutely chunking them away. There goes Evermore. He gets Pulse Bomb, but Bamboo continues to clean up in the backline on his Tracer. It is just all in this side of Kong right now as they push forward and clean up the remainder of that team. Still no ultimates on board for CBC, while they're going to have to push into both of the DPS ultimates for Kong.
Yeah, and this is so smart for the side of Kong. Right now, they're specifically leaping in a way that basically cuts off the team in half, forces them to fight individually, and right now, because they're not as cohesive as, their opponents are, they're getting picked off one by one, and right now, Bibble cutting off exactly what he's doing. He's cutting off the backline, takes down Burns so early on. Has Burns even, lived more than, 3 minutes at this point?
No. Chicken does finally get his ult off, and he takes down a couple, and he takes down a third, actually. So Chicken's still alive. As soon as I switch to him, of course, he dies. Sorry. And Bamboo did get cleaned up in that fight as well, so they are not able to flip it over, as it looked good. Chicken was the only one to get some work done in that. I thought Bamboo was going to go for the combo, but he died a little bit before. The Big Bang combination has been, of course, so prevalent in Overwatch lately. We'll see if Demonsa can get a good initiation here. He's been jumping in, but his team hasn't had the follow-up. Here he goes on the jump. He's going around. He drops the bubble for his team. He's made a ton of space for the rest of his team to push in. Sound Barrier is going to come off. There goes Transcend to try to counter it. It is a brawl on the point right now, as it is rather bloodless. It remains. It goes back and forth. There comes a giant graviton. Is there the follow-up? Bibble there. There comes the Pulse Bomb from School. Takes down 3.
Yeah, but for some reason, they're still fighting pretty well. They're just trying to generate some time. Donjun is just trying to gain ultimate charge. He still has ultimate charge. He still has his, Dragon Blade right now. And honestly, I'm fine with this. I'm on the side of Kong right now. I'm super fine with this. I'm at 99%. I still have a Dragon Blade on this. And admittedly, Chicken still does, and so does Burns. But the fact is, that's something you can bait out super easily early on. And if Bamboo can get an easy pick on Burns, all of a sudden this entire fight changes.
Yeah, Dong Jun also has his Dragon Blade up, but it is Chicken who pops it first. He's trying to get some damage done. He does get some slashes in, but does not end up with more than 1 kill. Dong did go down during that fight, though, so he's not going to have his counter Dragon Blade up, but they don't need it, as Bamboo adds 2 on his Tracer.
And lucky that, good job on Scope for having that Pulse Bomb take down Hun in order to kind of keep everything alive. But the fact is, right now, they're just filtering so slowly, one by one. That Dragon Blade could potentially cut them all off and force them really back, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's trying to pick off the targets from coming into the point, stopping from there, and all of a sudden right now, with just Burns left, you don't want a Zenyatta running in by itself to do anything like that, so
No, no one wants that any less than Zenyatta does, I guarantee you that. There's nothing sadder in the world than floating to the point all alone without your team. And yeah, it was a lot of the DPS there too. Bamboo just softening up everyone. Dongjun came in on his Genji as well. Bibble with the cleanup on the cleave. Winston does not get enough credit for the damage he does, mostly just on cleanup and chase. If you can call the numbers that you're dealing with, like, they took a lot, I had to reload, can you get in there? Just hunt them down, and you don't really not necessarily have to aim that accurately, and just get the tick damage on them and clean up a lot of those squishies that tried to get out of the fight. Their DPS are pressuring the opposing DPS out, but they're not getting out far enough, and they're getting chased by Winston.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, this is about the time where you have to think about, hey, maybe we have to make a change to our composition. They're still rolling with the same composition, and it's not that, you know, they don't have their bright spots. I genuinely think they, you know, they are all good Genji players, you know, and Tracer players, but the thing is, they're just getting outmatched with the same composition. Maybe change it up. Maybe bring in a Reinhardt to bring more of that area control. Maybe even bring a Mei in or something like that. But right now,
Burns goes down immediately. Bamboo hits every single bullet in his clip, takes him down. He is not done yet. Takes down Dubs. That's both supports right away. This reminds me just like the last game, both supports died immediately. Bamboo adds a third Schooled, decides that class is out of session, jumps off the bridge there. That is a decisive first fight for Kong.
Yeah, and if you kind of watch exactly how Kong does this, Kong dives together as a unit into the backline, which means that essentially they're all targeting same targets. They're all, you know, making sure everyone's getting chunked down, especially right now. But that's the big thing that they have to worry about right now. And they're all running to the same choke, and they just got booped off.
Well, they did switch up a little bit, though, as Chicken is going to come down onto this Reaper, and he takes down Bibble, who has been a huge part of the problem. He turns and tries to take out the Bamboo as well, but Dongjun did get to the backline, took down Burns, who has died very early in all of these engagements. Chicken doing his best to keep his team in it as he flips, takes down Bamboo. Some nice kills going on over there. Here comes the Dragon Blade from Dongjun. Can he get enough? No, he gets Zarya'd down, so that is a nice take. And like you mentioned, they had to switch something up. That something was the Reaper. They were able to take down Bibble pretty early, which helps. He comes in pretty late just to try to stall, get some more percentage points in, but he is regretting that decision immensely right now. Now in control at this point, it's a point you can hold for the remainder of it because these chokes are so difficult to deal with. I would imagine we'll see Kong wait for their entirety of the team, maybe Graviton as an engagement, or rotate around back. Nope, they're just going to jump right here. Graviton's on both sides as the black holes open. Who's got the cleanup? Soundbarrier comes on both. Bloodless after both Gravitons, but Dubs takes out Evermore to start this fight. That's CBC with the advantage.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just great double engagement right now, able to mitigate so much of the initial damage right now. But in the backline right now, Bibble is still staying alive, trying to do as much damage as possible, but his rest of the team is just getting cleaned up. He made this Reaper with the exact change that they needed. Burns able to take down Bibble on the backline. Dongjun is able to do it, but you know, they're just backing up right now, and this is a super smart decision. They just need to back up right now. That
pulse bomb from School. He was unhappy. He had to dive off the edge and hear his Tracer screams. He elicits the screams of his enemies as he drops that pulse bomb in on him. And we'll see where the next engagement comes from. If I'm Chicken, I want to keep myself out of sight. I want to bait them in over the bridge and try to nail a giant Death Blossom.
Yeah, and this is super easy right now. Dongjun is actually in a really bad situation where he has that Dragon Blade, and he can instantly get countered out by that Death Blossom as well. And unfortunately, Chicken just kind of doesn't really get any real damage off, but is able to create a lot of room, separates the backline supports from the front line, but Bibble is just going to town as well and knocking off people off the point, forcing them to react to him, and man, it kills Savar as well. And man, that's just a super great cleanup, and it just didn't seem like they were on the same page. I mean, Chicken just felt like he was in the middle of everything, just tried to ult for, you know, try to pick up some residual damage, but, you know, very smart from Hung and Ditzy from not walking into that, from staying at, like, you know, the distance. They didn't, you know, overreact and say, well, we're super separated, let's run through everyone, try to get to the enemy team right now, and they stayed safe and they stayed alive. And right now, Evermore does have a huge ult right now, and they're running through a chokehold. This is a great opportunity for Graviton.
There goes some Graviton from both sides yet again, but the cleanup is there for Kong as they get 4 right off the bat. You're not going to see any more contention come out from CBC, and I will say something about this Korean team so far. It goes back to last week as well, with Awesome Guy probably played the best Winston most people have ever seen. I mean, up there with the top of them, it's really hard to put anyone necessarily above him when it comes to that, so the Bibble is putting on a show as well. Chicken, though, comes in. He gets a kill to start it off for him. Can he put this team on his back? Monsta adds in. It is Chicken on the point. He's going to have to nearly stay there as he's going to try to keep up everyone off this point. Here comes Zarya. Full energy takes him down. Evermore and Bibble, the tank play has been outstanding for Kong.
Yeah, and the best part about this right now is if you watch exactly where Evermore and Bibble are, they're always so close together. They're always providing support for one another, creating room for the rest of the team, and that's like, honestly, that's the hallmark of what a good team is supposed to do in terms of team fights. They just read off each other so well. There was an instance where Bibble kind of just waited for the jump. He probably got very good communication from the rest of the team saying, you don't need to come here, you don't need to jump in right now, you don't need to subject yourself to additional damage, just wait back there, heal up, and then when we need you, jump over that wall and make that difference.
Yeah, that is Kong taking the map and by proxy the round right there. So much to talk about there, but I completely agree with you. I want to just take a moment and watch what Bibble gets done here. He's in there on Sounder. He's not going to get out. And just that's all the cleanup you need sometimes in one of those gravitons. But then he's onto the next target with the cleanup. Drops down his shield. Even though he's in the graviton, he's trying to keep his team alive and healthy. Stays alive the entire time, and that was it. Just goes back to Awesome Guy last week, and what you mentioned was they play as a team so well that anytime you see a target on a Korean team, they're like, oh, they're out of their team, that's going to be easy pickings. It's an illusion, it's a trap. You should turn tail and run, because every time anyone tries to jump someone they think is a good target, they get absolutely punished for it.
Yeah, and that's something, honestly, that's a lot of teams can definitely learn from, and that might be, you know, a slight turn in the meta right now, because at least in other genres and other games, I think a lot of it is about your background coming into this game. Overwatch has a lot of great benefits in terms of there's a very diverse, player pool where not everyone came from, TF2. Some people came from League of Legends. Some people came from Dota. Some people came from Counter-Strike, and among other brands. So, meaning there's a lot of outside influences coming in, and we're clearly seeing how they play is very methodical. They mainly look for target selection. They're looking to create a numbers advantage, and whether that means, hey, have our Winston be super mobile. They're so good with their Winston, mainly because the moment he lands and the moment that leap cooldowns comes off, he's immediately jumping onto another target. He's immediately abusing the fact that Winston's shield can mitigate so much damage, create so much space, and he's just a huge threat in general. And that's something a lot of teams are missing in terms of Western sides, where you don't really see those great Winston. You don't really see those great tank threats. And at the end of the day, that's might have been the difference maker.
Well said.